the opposite view. I say, well, let's figure out how we can build something that, you know, you can put your sticks in the water and it's not gonna float away. So I just don't wanna leave the water, and he does not wanna leave the water either, but he's convinced that we may have to. Is that fair?
I think that migration of certain communities is inevitable, not only because of insurance costs and other political factors, but I'd like to defer to Gary Cicchini, who's here, former director of the RAND Corporation here. And Gary, what do you think about the future of this place, given what you know about the risks and changes?
The planning that came out of post-Katrina was a great big map that had green dots and red dots. We bought a house in a red dot, out of defiance, I guess, in sort of a way. The question is, as we go generations from now, maybe just 2 generations from now, how realistic is that map actually going to be? Because that map turned out not to be realistic from a political and, more importantly, from a social sense. There were people that just had a sense of place, Broadmoor, Gentilly, some of those places, and they said, we're not going anywhere. What we failed to do, I think, from a policy perspective, was to support those communities to not just build back, but to build back better, and we've all kind of heard that debate. I think the reality is going to come to us is that those red dots are going to get bigger, and as you say, inevitably, there will be a migration. The question is, can we make that migration palatable across generations instead of, you just lost your home insurance, 5 years from now you gotta go.
And this is an extreme situation of what the entire planet is facing in terms of our rivers are our sources of life, the reasons for a settlement to be here, New Orleans, the very geography of New Orleans is the reason to be here, and at the same time is the largest threat. No? So it's a very difficult paradox that has no recipe, I would say, other than trying to think in a different way of, can we stop pumping here? It seems like absurd, but can we rethink how we use our public space to do much more than roads and streets and pavement and potholes, and can we begin to think in this city as a kind of sponge that is able to manage itself and be in a productive relation? But this is an extreme situation of what we are facing everywhere. No?
From the mayor to the city planning departments talking about, we are building the infrastructure now to receive people who are going to be moving from New Orleans. And, you know, here we have so much love for our fair and fragile city, and there is that denial, you know, of the risk and also the cost, right, of what it takes to build. But when I shared that, I was in meetings and people are talking about they're adding classroom capacity in the schools, they're adding sewer and water, they're budgeting that, it's in their budget now. And when we talk about it, it seems very distant and remote and abstract and far away. And I think that that's a piece, you know, we like living in denial.
But we have water.
We have what?
Phoenix is crazy in terms of real estate. They don't have water. So I think we need a different understanding of what the ability for this city to stay as a place where fresh water is a planetary resource.
So I'll tell a story about that too, but years ago at the Tulane School of Architecture, where Errol was a professor, in 1980, the students were allowed to design a thing called Architects Week. And we were all kind of burned out about a lot of things and tired of the East Coast, West Coast establishment. So we thought we were really smart. We discerned this new guy called Frank Gehry, who we thought wasn't a Yale. We didn't know, we didn't do our homework, obviously. He's a Yale guy and a UCLA guy. We found that out when he got there. But he came and he was, at that time, he was famous for his first house, his own house, which had asphalt floors in the kitchen, and tilted chain link walls wrapped around it. And for us, we were just enamored with that. So he comes and doesn't know anybody, and he's just the most easy, generous guy, as you said, to talk to. And we spent the evening with him. Ended up at a restaurant on Magazine. There were 20 of us. He doesn't know a soul. And at the end of the meal, he pulls out the biggest joint I've ever seen and he starts smoking. That's how at ease he was about life. Delightful guy. But he was so supportive of us, the students, and very much an encourager, as you said. So it's nice to connect. And that would have been right when y'all were probably thinking about the Lafayette Park thing. That might have been that same era. But a quick origin story on the book is Errol invited my wife Jen and I and Kate to go see the show at the Oro Keith Museum. And I'm ashamed to say I've lived an hour from it for all the time it's been there. I've never been. This was a year and a half ago.
How many people in the room have been to the Oro Keith Museum in Biloxi?
That's good. That's good.
Wow, that's more than I've ever seen.
So we go and David Houston, the director, gives us a guided tour and shows us the pods being reconstructed, looked at your work, looked at all the models of Gary, and it was a delightful day. And we get to the end of it, and I said, well, so what happens with this next? And he said, what's on the truck tomorrow or something because of insurance. And he said, let's credit Gary indirectly for this book. There was no warehouse space in the museum. Most museums have a 30 or 40% ratio back of house, and there's like 10% there. So they had no storage, so had to go on the thing, and they had no documentation to show. So that's got our wheels turning, and that's how the book's here tonight. So anyway.
But they made a deal with the museum north of them to be.
We have to appeal to like how they feel. You know, we can't just say like, you have to go here, you have to go there. Like how they feel really matters. I do some work around like helping people rebuild from the LA wildfires, and like one of the big things that they see there is that you can build homes to a more wildfire resilient standard. Everyone just thinks it looks ugly. You know, it's like, oh, you can't have plants within 5 feet of the house, and like I'm not gonna do that. And there's been an effort on the part of variety of architects to like show people, no, it can be beautiful. It's gonna be different. And so like I was thinking about that tonight with this, you know, power of these ideas that are so whimsical, but they mean something and they help us imagine how we're gonna get through some of these things.
I think the key word that I would have to respond to what you're saying is to commit that we should commit ourselves to innovation and science. Science is really getting a bad deal right now, and science is so important to live better. And we are not in a period where science is understood as a kind of almost as important, if not more important than religion.
So I have this newsletter that if you, how many people get my newsletter? Okay, so there are a few that don't, and you should get it. And one of the things that I say in a lot of my newsletters at some point in the letter that I write at the beginning of it is, the worse it gets, the better the chances for change. And that is my
Mantra.
I'm at heart a skeptic, but I also force myself to allow his optimism and hope to keep me on a positive path.
We have a dog who's much smarter than we are. That dog
Max.
is a blue heeler, cattle dog, part dingo. And his whole philosophy of life seems to be to help others. He's very concerned about Jean's well-being. He's more interested in helping her. He's not quite sure how best to help her, but he'd like to do the best he can. So he spent a lot of time with her, and I think there's much to be learned from other creatures about how we can help each other. And dogs are a good example. Many dogs and other animals as well.
We're just dog lovers, as I'm sure, you know, the majority of people
No,
in
it's
the room
just,
are.
intelligence is quite ubiquitous. There's intelligence of all forms, even oysters.
I see somebody lurking who might be wanting to tell me something about the timing, but I just want to, if you don't mind, unless there's somebody, any other comments or questions?
I just want to say, as infrastructure. So when we're thinking about infrastructure, we're often thinking about it as this static thing. But you know, there's the concept by Malik Simone, where she started thinking about people as infrastructure.
Yeah.
So when we think about why do people come back and know that they're in a dangerous situation, so as you're building, and particularly the mod home, it's looking at people as infrastructure, because you could add, again, it's modular, so,
It's a wonderful idea.
yeah, right. So, you know, without even thinking about that concept, that's what the mod home kind of did, just when two great thinkers get together and build something as such for the sustainability of people coming back. They're going to come back. It's home. So,
She didn't say who she was, but that's.
oh, I'm sorry.
Wendy
Washington, yes.
Mini anecdote to share with you, because the image of it stays with me so much. So, we live in this house on Esplanade Avenue that we were lucky to get at a certain point in history that we could afford it. And we have a bedroom on the second floor that looks out on Esplanade, and that's where Frank stays when he works with us in the city. And one day he comes downstairs from upstairs and says, "What are those little helicopters that are flying all over my room?" Anybody have a guess what they are? Termites. So, book signing. Book signing, how do we do that?
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. That was fabulous. I get to hold the book up for anybody who came in late. It's got two sides. So you're really getting two for the price of one here. And we have them at this counter up here, the original counter. We'll I'll pull this table up here for signing. And this, I think, I just realized a few days ago we had the last event of 2025. This is the first event for 2026. So thank you for being part of it. Definitely memorable, and if you're not on our mailing list, just put yourself on it, because we got more great things coming, and we've got a YA event this weekend, and then we've got the book On a Bridge coming up, which will be a big deal. So if you're not on the list, I don't know how you found out about it tonight, but put yourself on there and keep you posted.
Before we do that, I'd like to ask Virginia to say, Virginia put this book together. She did all of the research.
Yeah, I think it was your idea originally to do the kind of maybe like 70s concept where a lot of books used to have this very fun, quirky treatment, and so to kind of honor their partnership in equal parts, each side, Robert's side and Frank's side, it both goes into detail with their portions of the exhibition that was at the Laurel O'Keeffe, but it also weaves in parts of their lives and their stories. And then the center of the book, we have some great pieces of writing and images that describe some of the projects that Jean was asking about that they worked on together, and a really special piece of writing about the two of them from Robert Ivy, who is
Like alum, the
Yeah.
former president of the AI.
Yes.
Or
yeah,
editor, yeah, big deal.
yeah, big deal. So yeah, thanks all.
And the Mississippi Navy.
Yep. So yeah,
Okay.
thanks so much for coming.
Okay,
in.
thank you.
Yeah.